Hello everyone. Hope you are doing well and safe at your place. Myself Ajay Kharche, Assistant Professor at Kokon Gyanpit Rahul Dharkar College of Pharmacy and Research Institute Karjat. Welcome all the participants to this Global Pharmaceutical Entrepreneurship Development Online Webinar Series, which is organized in collaboration with NCP, SPCP Professional Association and Indian Pharmaceutical Association. Dear participants, today's webinar highlights on future prospects for pharma graduate in India, which is going to be delivered by Mr. Kamlesh Atal. Mr. Kamlesh Atal, sir, in pharmacy in year 1993 from Nagpur College of Pharmacy. Mr. Kamlesh Atal, sir, has started career as trainee with pharmaceutical company in Hyderabad and currently has his own business as buying agent in 1996 with one overseas company. Sir has co-founded Medinomics Healthcare Private Limited with his partner in year 2004. Sir has more than 23 years of experience in pharmaceutical industry and has dealt with various premier healthcare products. Sir has been a co-founder of two more companies, namely Madhushri Enterprises Private Limited and Ocean Healthcare Private Limited. As of today, uh, Sir has business in African countries, Asian countries, Central American countries, and USA. With this quick overview of Sir, I will request our below principal, Dr. Mohan Kale Sir, to share his views. Uh, Principal Sir, over to you.
Hello.
Principal Sir? Yeah.
Yes. Is it audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. So good evening, all of you. Yesterday, because of the cyclone, we had to shift this session of Mr. Kamlesh Atal. Mr. Kamlesh Atal, he did his graduation from Nagpur College of Pharmacy. At the outset, I would like to thank him for accepting our invitation and available for this uh, Global Entrepreneurship Development Series. Dear students, Atal is a real practical example who, as a mediocre student, as average student, he developed into a entrepreneur. And this is what I want in you also, the budding pharmacist, that you also develop as an entrepreneur. Gain something from all these type of programs, from continuing learning series, and try to inculcate positive things while studying. It's not the enjoyment at the college level only. You have to grab positive things, accumulate the positive things, and slowly and steadily gain all the attributes, aptitudes for being an entrepreneur. From last several days, this is the 15th webinar and as such, fifth webinar of this series. I have been telling you what is entrepreneurship, what are the qualities which are required in entrepreneurship, entrepreneur, how it differs from a business, and how one can become an entrepreneur. The things today I will be dealing with some stages of the business growth. Now, Mr. Atal, he also has he is owning three pharma companies. Can you imagine? He was not a rich, but a middleman, a middle person from a middle family, but grown up to such a stage because he was disciplined. He had some creativity that he will be doing it. He joined and gained experience in the way that he shifted to Hyderabad, did his job initially, then became a buying agent for some products, and then started step by step after learning, after gaining all these features, he started his, and today he is a successful entrepreneur, a businessman who is having three companies. Now, each of this, next slide, Ajay, the stages of business. The first stage is development stage. I told you that you have to initiate the idea. So this idea making, creativeness, you have to develop right from now. Start it, think it, plan it properly, and see. And once this business idea is developed, now you have to make various business plans so that your business can be a successful. Then you have to constantly review this set of plans to meet all the needs. Then spot new measures for strategic growth. If something is difficult or some obstacles are there, you have to revisit and rebuild your plans. And you ultimately you have to come up with a continuous business cycle that enables the entrepreneur to maximize their chances of success. So planning, having actual action, implementing, getting result, taking feedback from the customer base, and further improving. This is all to be done during the development stage. The second stage is startup stage. Now you have planned, you have various plans, you are doing well, but whatever was your expectation, you have to put more funds. So this startup stage is very important. The second stage, survival stage. Actually, it is, we can call it as a survival stage, because if you had planned the things for 5 lakhs or 5 crores, the estimate may go beyond your reach and you have to meet that need. Many businessmen or many entrepreneurs try to withdraw at this stage. And I said you don't have to withdraw. You should not fail. You should have that persistency. You should have that stability that I will be doing it and you will succeed. So it is a risky and stressful, because you have to pour more and more money. The actual budget may exceed far, and you have to raise the money from time to time, seek more and more investment, hire more and more staff, manage all expectations, and then you can survive. So this is a startup stage. Then comes third stage, that is a growth stage. During growth stage, money start coming. Your product succeeds. You have a building of your client base. Your profits also increase. Your thinking capacity for expanding can proceed further. So that is essential. Challenges come across you, but you can analyze in a better way because of your experience, because of your past strategies, and ultimately within the same cost or in minimum cost, you try to earn more and more profit. Challenges are there at this growth stage. How to deal with increasing customer base, how to streamline the operations, how to deal with market competition, and how to increase the profit volume. That is the third stage of the business. Fourth stage is expansion stage. Everybody want to expand. Once you are getting profits, you are seeing that you have survived in the market. Now the expansion stage is characterized by a new season of growth, and increasing distribution channels are needed. Increasing manpower is needed. Proper streamlined plan and research is needed to move into new market. When you are moving into new market, you have to acquire the competitors also. The increasing market competition you should be aware of. Additional stock, the nomination of CNF agent, the distribution channel, and everything, it comes into this expansion stage. But one has to be careful during this expansion stage. It is not that you have survived your business or entrepreneur, but then you cannot take it a chance, or you cannot be risky. So slowly and steadily, you can survive in this expansion stage and acquire and grow in such a stage that you reach a maturity stage. Maturity stage, you have to rely on your partners. You have to rely on your staff. You have to rely on your employers. You are away. Now your brands are there. You become a branded by this type. So you can shift. Now you come to some social life. You can enjoy profits also. So this is the maturity stage. But during this maturity stage also, you have to see that how long your business can survive, how long your business can be maintained, what new innovations are needed so that I will be continuously in market. You know, say initially fat car was there and Maruti came and it disappeared. Ambassador, it disappeared because they never switch over to some other business plan. So one during in maturity stage also, you have to see that continuous improvement is there. So dear students, today we covered these 5 stages. To, again, tomorrow we will continue with this, and in brief, I will, with examples, let you know how these stages and how you can enjoy the business. In as I have differentiated business and entrepreneur, that you can enjoy the entrepreneurship. So my best wishes to you all. Gain something. You have a right person today who can share his experience, let you know what are the prospects of for a BPharm graduate. I invite Mr. Kamlesh Atel for today's uh, guidance and motivation of our students. Kamlesh sir, please.
Hello, friends. First of all, let me thank Kale sir for giving me this opportunity to present and share my experiences with you. Though as rightly introduced by Kale sir, I was a real mediocre student you can call for or vouch for. In fact, there was a time when I was finding it difficult to cope up with the syllabus as well. But still, every failure made my resolve much stronger to excel at least in my professional life. So once done with B pharmacy, I was just thinking that what is to required to be done so that at least professionally I am successful. I got into a job with Sol Pharmaceuticals, a company that time it was a reputed company in Hyderabad, as an analytical chemist. My abilities were judged with one subject that was pharmacology. Though I was mediocre in my college days, but I was found outstanding in pharmacology, and looking at that, they transferred me to a regulatory affairs department. In the regulatory affairs department, I came across several opportunities and a lot many things which we, as a pharma graduate, which we are never exposed to, and that is where the seed of entrepreneurship was germinated. I am going to go with the presentation, brief presentation that I have made for you to easily catch it up with. So let me start. Here is the slide. So usually we are having exposure to the opportunities as listed below. Once you are a pharma graduate, either you try for production chemist or you try to be an R&D chemist, uh, or you go to quality assurance, domestic marketing, or try to attempt for drug inspector, or else teaching. But there are various, but none of these opportunities takes you to entrepreneurship. And if they take you to entrepreneurship, that is an investment oriented, and that is where a fresh graduate get discouraged that where from he can get into investment. Whereas my job profile was totally different. That presented to me opportunities which don't need a huge investment. Those opportunities, I am just going to discuss those opportunities along with my career path. Let me put that slide also to you. Many of us, we don't know whether we can get into international marketing, domestic marketing of bulk drugs. I underline bulk drugs, not formulations. International regulatory affairs, procurement, that is basically related to purchases. What we focus, as I have explained you, usually what we focus as a production chemist, R&D chemist, and all those kind of things. But none of them germinate. This opportunity, suppose you get to work into an international marketing department, you get to know there is a world of opportunities available for your business acumen to be explored. And that is where I started my career. I started my career as R&D, as an analytical chemist. From there to international regulatory affairs, and then from there to international marketing. In international marketing also, I was just sitting in the office and working as an assistant with one of my vice president, and taking tips from him. But what I discovered that the international marketing of formulations is a much easier job than as imagined. It just need a common business sense that we encounter day to day. And honestly speaking, we miss that. We don't observe, we don't look at opportunities if they have a potential to, okay, that can make you an entrepreneur. And that is where the mistake is happen. So going by all these opportunities, you will find that how to get into it. The problem is the habit. How do we cultivate that habit of seeing an opportunity and at the same time understanding what actually is the business, what actually is the entrepreneurship? Many of my past speakers have explained to you all those things, but what I am going to touch is that business in one line or entrepreneurship in one line is meeting a need of the customers. It is simple, and that is business, that is entrepreneurship, nothing else. Whatever activity we do in our college days also, we just do work as a purpose, with a purpose of scoring some good marks without really understanding what is the importance of all those practicals that we do, all those things that we do. If we imbibe an habit of developing or thinking on a specific purpose, why we do this, and what is the commercial benefit attached to it, how it is applied in the real life industry, that makes you self sufficient to generate the ideas for that can make you entrepreneur or a businessman. But there is a distinct difference in businessman and entrepreneurship that was explained in by my previous speakers. A businessman just do business for profit. Entrepreneurship also do business for profit, but he also considers welfare of the people working with him. He wishes to take them along with them. He wishes to see that they grow along with him, and that is the difference. So my friends, you need to see how you get into this. Why we are not aware of these opportunities is also a question, and how we can resolve that, how it can be addressed. That is the thing. Like I started my career in the year 96 as a buying agent. It was from one company, that was Haiti. I tried to convince the customer that why not he appoint me as an agent in India, so that I can cater to his needs in India, because lot of companies who buy from abroad sitting overseas need somebody here who can cater to their requirement, consolidate all their inquiries, and get them the best price. And exactly that is what I was doing. I had no infrastructure that time, just one table, one phone line. Computer was also outsourced from a friend, and an email address that was funded by my friends. And the business started. First, within first 8 days, I could do a business of 5 lakh rupees, and I was very happy. My commission of 5% on anything I do for them. And that is how it started, and I gave up the job. I have resigned from my job. Take note that I was doing my business as a part-time activity. Full-time was my job. I was working in a company. Evening, I used to get out of the company, and 6 to 9, I used to do my business activity without actually hampering the business interest of my company. So that is very important. Morals and ethics and loyalty with which you are working are very important, and they are the only one which drives your business, generate the faith in you. The customer will start believing. So keep this always in mind, that whatever you do, you are ethically on a sound ground. Don't compromise your principles, your ethics for small benefits. Be honest to yourself and to your customer. So as I was saying, I started this and I resigned from the job. After resigning from the job, I was doing the full-fledged job, and you will be surprised. I didn't had any business for almost 8 months. I was sitting idle trying to exploit the opportunities. There was a time when I was thinking that I should give it up now. It's high time. I'm not going to be successful. There was no financial backup to me from my family. Everything was started from zero, and I was not able to bear it. God's grace, during the same time, I was trying to add few more customers, and I could get few customers. And that is how my business started taking shape. And today, what I do is I have a manufacturing unit, which is Ocean Healthcare. Working there, 260 employees works in the unit. That is an achievement for me, where from I started my journey and all those things. So you also need to, I feel personally that this is the best formula to see the opportunity. And how can you see the opportunity? How can you imbibe that culture, that practice into you on day-to-day basis is what you need to observe what you do in your labs. Say, for example, you do an synthesis in organic chemistry, or a distillation or extraction of some product in pharmacology, pharmacognosy lab. It is important why, what is the purpose of doing that? It is not just to score the mark. Every act that has been taught to us during the graduation days has some meaning, a tangible benefit coming out of it. A business, the size of business you can't imagine. One small technical expertise can make you an entrepreneur. It is just simple, nothing much. And you don't need huge resources. You just need an application of mind as how to use this knowledge which you learn throughout your 4 years of graduation. This is my story. I just use that opportunity, my common sense, in spite of being a mediocre student who struggled to do his B pharmacy. So there is nothing to feel bad about it. Every weakness should help you resolve or galvanize your will to excel in your professional life. Ultimately, after doing, even after excelling in pharma graduate also, you end up doing something, either a job or some business. And this is what I did. So let us go point by point. International marketing. You might have a common question that how do you get into it? Domestic marketing of bulk drugs. Formulations, you can get into it easily, but what about APIs, that is bulk drugs? Same is the case with international regulatory affairs. Procurement, that is purchase department. How do you work with the purchase department? So all these points are there. And I am going to explain to you all those in detail. Detail in a sense, it will give you sufficient knowledge to understand how to get into it. There are other opportunities like GMP auditor for overseas agencies, not for Indian companies. You can be a buying agent for overseas companies. You can be a management trainee in pharma industry, but it needs an MBA degree. The other potential business opportunity exists is shipping of medicines to individual prescriptions. So let us start. How do you get into all this, and how do you start your journey of an entrepreneur? I go back to my previous slide. Okay, so getting into international marketing, domestic marketing of bulk drug, and what you need to do is you need to upgrade on a regular basis that what actually happens in this field of business, and how do you have this insight. For that, simple thing is that you need to interact with more with the industry experts, discuss with them, form some groups, invite them to share their experiences, how they enter, and that can give you enough insight at how do you get into it. But for a fresh pharma graduate, it's the best is to offer a free an employment without any salary for a period of 6 months, and you are in. Even today, I look for my company. In my company, I look for a pharma graduate, and I don't find them. That is the fact. The business development managers that who are working with me are just BCom, BSc type, and they have some experience. Whereas in globally, if you see other than India and China, all these positions are held by B Pharma graduates. Whereas in India, it is just opposite to that. Why it happens? What we need to do is a question to be temporal. So my suggestions are as such. Identifying business opportunities starts right from the day you enter the lab. right from the day you start interacting with your professors. They are capable enough to guide you at least in explaining what is the commercial benefit of each and every action that you do in the lab. And just keep doing this thing, observe each, make a critical observation of commercial benefit of all the experiments that you do. And this is going to help you in your thinking, shaping up your thinking, shaping up your attitude towards the business. It is very easy. Not much of the stress is required. Just one simple habit. Please culminate this. Otherwise, you will get graduated first class, first degree without this thinking, or without this thinking of observing the actions in the lab and the purpose of all those experiments. It is there. Without that analysis, you won't go anywhere. It won't take you anywhere. It will be very challenging for you to find a business opportunity. Business opportunity is right there with you every time, but we fail to observe. So please take note of that. Maybe to get more into this kind of thing, you start having a lecture or monthly lecture series in your college. Maybe a group or club can be formed among a student who can approach on behalf of college to the industry experts and ask them to share their experiences, what they do, how they do, and what kind of challenges they face and how do they mitigate. That would be the best way to get ourselves abreast with the industry requirement. Today, just simply doing graduation doesn't make you industry ready. That is also one fact. But as a student, we are not bothered. We are more bothered about marks, score, mark. That's it. That doesn't take you anywhere. This is so coming to the point. International marketing, you can easily get into it. Just apply as a trainee for international marketing. And I can tell you, out of 10 companies, two at least you should get two opportunities just to work as an assistant. Don't vouch for a bigger designation or anything kind of thing. Doesn't make any sense. Learning skill is important, and not more the designation. Same is the case with domestic marketing of bulk drug. Though it sounds very small, but it is a damn complicated thing that you can imagine. So much of technicalities which a pharma graduate can handle. Whereas as of today, a BCom graduate is doing that. A pharma graduate can definitely excel into it. International regulatory affairs is another domain, very good for a female candidate. She can start because it also has an opportunity to work from home, and it also has an opportunity to start own business. But we are not taught, or we are not aware that how to get into it. Many companies look for, even my company, when I was scouting for pharma graduate, I rarely find some good graduates. International regulatory affairs is one such portfolio where your technical expertise, technical knowledge adds value to your career path. Same is the case with the procurement. Is again a complicated thing, but we don't know how to get into it. Simply apply as a trainee, not without salary, no problem. 3 months no salary, 6 months no salary, but just entry is what matters. Get into it, work as an assistant. You will be exposed to whole new world of procurement in pharma company. It's again a very highly technical job which needs knowledge. Whereas as of today, every BA, BCom kind of graduates doing that. A pharma graduate can add a lot of value to the procurement department. Let me go to the new slide. GMP auditor for overseas agencies. There are a lot of overseas agencies who come here to audit factories on regular basis, and a huge cost is paid by a pharma company to them. Why do we need to pay when you can get yourself nominated by some international agencies? Say for example, US FDA, they have their offices here. You can work with them as a coordinator, or start somewhere. There are opportunities which they can handle you, or you can work with third world FDAs. They need these services. Even today, just last week, NAFDAC has appointed few agencies like QCS, CILIS, and other labs as their auditors here. And every audit they do, we pay 20,000, 40,000, 1 lakh rupees to them for our factory approval, which is a huge amount. Then you can, the most easiest job as of today is to start as a buying agent. Don't need any investment. That is how I started. But the most challenging thing is to find somebody who is looking for a buying agent. How do you find that? Again, that is a skill that can be taught with the help of internet. You can just browse around and approach as many companies as possible who import. The data is available for a mere peanut subscription value. Very small value you can get the data. Who are the importers? Who are the exporters? How do you facilitate? What you can do? Same is the case with shipping medicines to individual prescriptions. There are countries who allow individual prescriptions can be imported from different companies if they have an advantage at or cheaper value. Netmeds is the classic example. Netmeds started long back, and what they were doing, they were catering to individual prescriptions of overseas customers, especially from Europe and Americas. Each individual prescription was shipped by them from India, buying those brands which are available in India or equivalent brand available in India. And today it's a 500 crore company, not a main job. And now Netmeds, everybody knows what they are doing. Same is the case with all these opportunities. But the problem starts, as I said, awareness. Why we are not aware? Where from we get this awareness? How do we get into it? So these are the challenges that we need to mitigate. And this can be mitigated, as I said, by organizing weekly lectures or monthly lectures from the experts of each of these fields. Even if he is a buying agent, not mattered if, as an industrialist, not respected much, but he can give a lot of knowledge to you that how he can multiply a small opportunity of catering the individual needs of the buyers from overseas. When I started, I had one country, one customer. Today, I am catering to almost 19 countries around the globe. Africa, I cater. Southeast Asia, I cater. Then Latin and Central America, I cater. And recent addition is USA. But all these customers, most of these customers, I started working with them as a buying agent. I was not a manufacturer. Neither I had fund to guarantee anything for them. What I was doing is just a clean deal. Any transaction I do for them, I take my commission of 5%. You won't believe, in first year I earned 5 lakh rupees just on commission business. That was in 96. 97, it multiplied 4 times, 20 lakh rupees. As the faith between customer and you increases, the business increases. You don't need any convincing, nothing, just faith and honesty. And thereafter, no looking back. In 2004, we felt a need to start our own factory because all the companies we were sourcing our product were turning out that they don't wish to deal with buying agent. Every buying agent goes through this phase, and that is how he get into setting up his own manufacturing unit. And we also did the same. Today, in 2014, we have set up our own unit. That was a Ocean Healthcare. But before setting up Ocean Healthcare, what is important is selling. Ultimately, if you don't sell, whatever big your unit is, you are bound to fail. How to ensure success? That is what makes the difference between a successful entrepreneur and a failed entrepreneur. At this time, I would suggest you should also imbibe an habit of reading stories of failed entrepreneur. That helps you avoid mistake. After all, you won't do any mistake. We all cannot wait for we doing mistake and learning from them. You should also imbibe an habit of learning from somebody's mistake. We don't know whether it will be of any help to us or not, but you will get similar situations in your business life where you will find that experience worthy. So my friends, Just to summarize whatever I said till now, is that the most important habit is imbibing an habit of observation and why every act we do. Every act that we do in our lab has a commercial benefit attached to it, that process, and more detail into it. The success lies in details, not in an overall scenario. So try to get into details of each activity in the lab that you do. That will make a lot of difference. Yes, so let's go to a next slide. The biggest challenge for anybody, it is very easy to guide or lecture people how to become an entrepreneur. But the challenge starts when you don't have finances, or you have a limited finances, or you don't have a sustainable finances. Don't worry about it. Everything starts with zero. Even I started with zero. The small helps can be taken from our friends. Infrastructure helps you need. That's it. Ultimately, an entrepreneur or a businessman caters to the need of the customers, and that is how we have to do. So once you have a fear of losing something, you won't think of doing any business or entrepreneurship, and you have to take that fear away from you. Therefore, better to analyze situations, current business scenario, and find a way where you can find a zero finance opportunity. There are opportunities which are available. Yeah, just try to be a facilitator. How you can facilitate a business, even promoting an online business sitting in home adds a lot of value to you. Though it is you are doing it for somebody, but the valuable experience that you gain by doing that can make you an entrepreneur. The second important thing that you come across is zero responsibilities towards family. What I mean by this is that if entrepreneurship has you, if you are willing to get into entrepreneurship, you have to start early. You have to think this early before you get into responsibilities towards family. Initial days, family also support. They also understand, but not over the period you will be responsible. Getting married, once you get married, extend your family, you can. It is very difficult to get into entrepreneurship. I did the same thing. I had an overall job experience of 2.5 years, and I started doing my own business as buying agent. Zero responsibilities from my home, zero finance from my home. What I had from my friend was one table, a loan telephone line, a loaned computer, and an internet connection paid by somebody. The only amount that I was supposed to organize was my telephone bill. During those days, internet was not that commonly used. So I used to pay a monthly telephone bill of 1 lakh rupees. So whatever I earned for first year of my operation by being an buying agent, I ended up paying only telephone bills. 1 lakh rupee was that time was a huge amount, and that is the time we learn value of money, that how difficult it is to earn money and spend. So dear friends, think about it. Think, try to find out that zero in your life. Where do you find that zero? And I'm sure you will be able to do that. You can find that zero in your life. Let me change to the next slide. The second most important thing is once you are a graduate, you start scouting for the job without any plan, without any thinking. And most of the people I have interviewed, they have no clue. They just want job. Why? Why? I fail to understand. Just to earn money and not to make a beautiful career out of it. Nobody is bothered. Nobody is thinking much on this beyond earning some regular income on a monthly basis. And that is where we fail. So this mindset need to be changed. Whenever you apply for a job, think about it. What potential it exists for you? Can you take it to an entrepreneurship level? If you can, do enter into job. Otherwise, try for other opportunity. And don't enter into any job without any career plan. This is my simple advice. Many people, many of my friends entered into they are now a production chemist. There is an entrepreneurship opportunity, but that attract huge investment which they are not capable of, and that is not the right thing to do. So whenever you plan with an entrepreneurship objective, think that the line of activity which you are going to take, the job you are going to take, has an potential, entrepreneurship potential, that can take you or make you an entrepreneur. So think about it. It will help you a lot. I did the same while I was thinking. How do we change this? That is a big question. My observation is just simple. Institutes has to come forward, and students will only come forward if students are coming forward. So the responsibility of taking requesting institute along with you to fulfill your objective can happen only when if you take an initiative. If you take an initiative, institute can always help you. No institute in the world can say no. What you need to do? You need to organize. You need to enhance your knowledge. You need to organize yourself. How all the things are work. That is what will make you stand out from the masses or the crowd. Organize frequent visit of students to work with various technical and commercial department of pharma company. As I said, start as a trainee. And even before starting, before you are graduate, every year you can go to the pharma companies, just sit there. Sitting also is a big job for you to build your beautiful career. Just by sitting, you will be observing what actually these guys are doing, how the pharma industry runs. Without knowing how the industry runs, you won't be able to do anything. Be assured that you have to put in some effort. The last one of this slide, owning the responsibility. Even if you get into job, don't do job as just a job. Be responsible for it. Think that it is your job and you are responsible for profit and loss of the company. If you do just job as a job without any fear of losing anything, I it's no, you are not going to succeed. Only those people climbs to the higher positions, even in job industry or entrepreneurship, who owns the responsibility of their job. Like for example, if you are doing anything in commercial department, you must know how you can add value to the company. Even a small value, say for example, the companies gives you allowances for going to some office by taxi or cab, whereas you can just walk around, which is nearby or somewhere. Try to be reasonable with the company. Be comfortable in sharing that you have compromised, you have thought about company, and let this point be communicated well to the HOD under whom you are working, that you are saving some money for the company. And that is where you create an impression, and that is where your superior will start thinking about you. Otherwise, like every other company, people start saving on allowances just for the sake of their pocket, that can fetch you only temporary benefit, nothing more than that. It will not help you to be to promote yourself to the higher level in the company or to get into entrepreneurship. So imbibe this habit. Let me move to the next slide. If, as I said, countries other than India and China, mostly all the positions that I have referred as the career options are are holded by pharma graduates. It is only in India that every BA, BCom, BSc graduate can compete with you. That is not correct. That need to be changed, because I have seen when I go as on my visiting card I write I am a pharma graduate, and when my customer sees that I am pharma graduate, he has a different faith altogether. He start talking technical aspect of the product with me. That changes the whole equation. If you are technically competent, that will make you a successful businessman or successful in your present employment. Same is the case. We are not the other point in countries like India. You need to work in close partnership with industry on a win-win model. This is a suggestion out of my domain. What I have seen that when we hire people, pharma graduates in our lab, they don't have a slightest exposure of what they are going to do here. They even don't know the volume of the drop. They don't know the pH scale. They just do it at the time of graduation and they forget. That is not right. So what is required to be done? Maybe again a student has to take an initiative here. Form some club like it has been formed in various other IITs or BITs or other top institutes, and get into industry. Many industries are there, even ours, who want to do some microbial validation studies. We don't have time or resources in our factory. We want to look for outsourcing it. Such kind of small experiments, you can always ask for companies to outsource to your colleges, institutes, with the help of your college management. And it is a win-win model. College also wins, you also wins, and the company also wins. How? Company will pay you some money to conduct this study. College is benefited. The student is benefited because he will be doing something. He will learn doing that process or that purpose or that work the industries gives you or outsourced to you. And industry is benefited. They end up saving a lot of time and resources and manpower on the same job, which is otherwise delays their commercial benefit. So understand the importance of this. Maybe it can help you take you to the next level. So this is what I had to say. At the end, I can only say thank you so much for listening to me. And I hope you will, if you have any questions, you can always answer to me. You can always send me by an email or contact me by phone number, which I will share with you. And see that if I am of any help, you can always contact us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable suggestions. I will request to the participants, if you have any question. Yes, there is a question from Amol Borade, sir. How Indian bulk drug market can overcome China market?
Amol Borade, sir, the question is very right. At the present scenario, when Indian government themselves are trying to work on this. When I started my career, that was the time when Hyderabad was known for making intermediates and bulk drugs. As of today, we are also still making a lot of bulk drugs, but we are dependent for intermediate on China. Why it has happened? Because manufacturing intermediate is a highly polluting industry, and most of the industries that time were discharging all these pollutants into drainage, which was ultimately getting into ground. And that is where this intermediate industry was stopped. But now the government is thinking of creating clusters for making intermediates. Once we start making our own intermediate, our dependence on China will go down heavily. We have all the technologies. It is just a government who need to extend some support, give such an ecosystem for us. That is the only way to improve, overcome China market.
Sir, there is one more question from Pranjal Narkhede. From Pranjal Narkhede, that how industrial visits helpful for entrepreneurs?
Industrial visits actually, by visit, I don't mean to say that you just take a round. By visits, I mean to say that when you go to industries, ask them questions, especially on commercial front. You should start asking them question why these activities are done and what are the better ways to do it. There are many ways. I can, hello, hello,
Yeah,
hello.
yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes, sir,
yes,
you're audible.
yeah, okay.
Audible.
So going through industry is not just to take a round. You have to ask them questions. If you don't ask questions, the round is not going to take you anywhere. Say, for example, if you are going to come to my factory, take a visit, there are many things you will see, many people doing many activity. Why are they doing that? What is the cost involved in it? And you have, and think over it. You will find some need. Ultimately, each person in the factory is meeting somebody's need. And entrepreneurship only, you will only become entrepreneur if you identify the ways to solve that need. That's it. Just going, understanding, seeing product and coming, and that's it. It's not for that. The industrial visits are not required for that.
Okay, sir. There is one more question from Mansi Dhamar that can I go directly into international marketing after B Farm?
Yes, you can go into international marketing directly, but you have to start as a trainee first, maybe for 6 months or 8 months minimum, because you also need to adapt or learn new skills which are required, some basics. But this can be avoided if every year after your final exam, if you start learning new skills, especially like export import diplomas, which are a part-time diploma, you can still attend while doing the colleges. If you don't do that, then you will end up losing 8 months in just learning while being in the industry. It still make a sense. You get to know a new job. Without knowing, you will not know what is the job you need to do. Even we hire trainees. Recently, we hired one trainee. You will be surprised, sir. We did not find a B Pharma graduate. When we asked, we did not find, nobody applied. We were specific that we want a B Pharma graduate. Finally, we hired a guy who did BCom MBA, was working in a fan industry. He is working with me as a trainee. After 6 months, we started his salary as a 20,000 per month. And we are paying him to learn the skill. That is the kind of shortage we have.
Correct. Because nowadays students are approaching towards the outsourcing companies, the TCS, Cognizant.
Yes.
Students are the back process of his job only.
And you will be surprised in next 2 to 3 years, once he adapt entire process, he learns the entire process of business development on international scenario, he will be drawing a salary at least of 6 lakhs, just 2 years of investment. And with international exposure, you can't imagine the glamour of international business is very different than you can imagine sitting in your office, sitting in India. It's way different than, it is something to be experienced.
Yes, sir. That's true, sir. Sir, next question that how much pharmacists are contributing and serving in bulk drug market?
Very few. Most of them are BSc chemistry. Very few. Very few. And let me tell you, they get into industry just as an assistant. Few of them are either assistant to somebody or as a junior chemist or as a trainee, and they learn that skill, they learn about the challenges by just assisting their superiors, and that is how they get into it. But as a B Pharma, you definitely have an advantage, but we need to have some marketing acumen to it. We need to have a good analytical habit, and it's very easy. In my company, there are 5 B Pharma who are working in marketing team. 3 of them are international business development. 3 of them are in regulatory. One is recently joined, which is trainee. There is a huge potential, sir. Yes, next question.
Next question from Deepali Khabade that how students should complete their implant training during the course?
Now, most of the students, even what I did when I had an industrial training, I actually didn't do any industrial training. I just got a certificate from a company where my friend was working and submitted. That's it. That was the biggest blunder I did. At least you don't do that. Take your training very, very seriously, because that is the training. Training is going to be your first step of actual pharma learning, industrial pharma learning. Otherwise, you are bound to fail in your career. I was fortunate. I didn't go into technical aspects, so I could succeed. And in plant training, when you go, don't just do whatever they asked. Also observe what others are doing, why they are doing. You will make some good friends. Interact with them. Make them as a guru as long as you are there. They can guide you, they can help you. We also get students these days, even these students, they don't ask any questions, sir. We will tell them, do this titration, they will keep up doing titration whole day and nothing else. They don't ask why they need to do this, what is the purpose of doing this, why it is coming in between the process of manufacturing, why we don't do it at the end stage, why we don't do it at the beginning. They don't ask anything. Now that is not the training actually. It is just like an industrial visit and a labor job. So this is my experience. What we started doing is, in our factory, when fresh students come for training, industrial visit, we have made it mandatory to them. Make your observations, give it to our vice president, what you have observed today and what you did today, and have some brief chat on weekly basis with them, how you can improvise. That is the practice we have recently started after experiencing these challenges. So this is how they should get into training. Next question.
So there are no more questions now.
Okay, very nice.
But but our participant will get lots of knowledge regarding the industry, regarding the opportunities. Thank you, sir, for your informative session.
Thank you, sir.
Now I request Poonam madam to share the vote of thanks. Poonam madam, over to you. Okay, so there are certain problems from the Poonam madam. There are some connectivity issue. So I will conclude the session, sir. So thank you, participants, for being a part of the today's session. So good evening, one and all. It's a great honor and a privilege to propose vote of thanks on behalf of entire family of Kokon Kanpit Roldarkar College of Pharmacy and Research Institute on this fourth day and the fifth session of Global Pharmaceutical Entrepreneurship Development Online Webinar Series on future prospects for pharma graduate in India. First and foremost, I would like to thank Mr. Kamlesh Atal sir for delivering such a nice information on future prospects for pharma graduate in India. So thank you, sir, for your contribution and spending time for this webinar series.
Thank you.
Next, my sincere thanks to our management and our beloved principal, Dr. Mohan Kale sir, for giving the opportunity to organize this webinar series. Also thankful to the organizing committee, Dr. Sandekar sir, Dr. Vaishali Zadhav madam, Mr. Amar Borre sir, and Poonam Padi madam for continuous assistance during the session. Last but not in the least, I thanks to all the participants and delegate for their active participation. I request all the participants to please fill up the feedback form within 1 hour. We will post the feedback form in your Telegram group. So I request all the participants to please fill up the feedback form within the time. So herewith, I conclude the today's webinar. Tomorrow, we will meet at 11 a.m. with the new topic, with the new speakers. So thank you, all the participants. Thank you, Kamlesh Atal sir. Thank you, Kali sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
It was really nice talk. Excellent talk. And
thank you, sir.
It was required. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you,
Because
sir.
we are arranging, as you said, we are arranging constantly guest lectures, seminars at my college. The number of events are much more.
I
But
see.
we could
Very
not
nice.
get a real man who could talk these practical aspects. And today your was real, the basic things the student should learn. That was there. Great talk.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for appreciating.
Thank
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yeah,
Thank
bye,
you,
bye,
Ajay
bye,
sir.
sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you. Yeah, bye, sir.